Hey shoegazers, it's Hannah. I'm back with part 2 of this particular series. We are diving further into the depths of shoegaze. You could kind of consider this maybe a part 3 actually, because I did a shoegaze video a few years back that was kind of an intro to shoegaze and kind of talked about the originators and so on. So the link is up here if you want to go further back to that video. But for this particular series, we are focusing on more obscure acts, lesser known bands, to help you kind of settle into this subgenre of alternative rock. So for the occasion, I'm sporting my new shoegaze shirt. Thought that was kind of fun. I got that from tpublic.com. They had a sale a few weeks ago, so I jumped on that, and I also got a Depeche Mode shirt. Let's dive in to the otherworldly, magical sounds of shoegaze. First band I want to talk about is a band that Dean at Grandma's Handbag introduced to me. They are from Melbourne, Australia, and they are called Lowtide. And this is their first self-titled album right here. And yeah, Dean sent me this, I think earlier this year, and I just fell in love with it. This just happens to be on red vinyl. They are definitely more of a softer shoegaze band. I would say definitely more influenced by Slowdive and not as much My Bloody Valentine. So I kind of look at shoegaze in that way, like, does this band incorporate more of the My Bloody Valentine guitars, or are they more gentle, kind of sweeping like Slowdive? So I would say more like Slowdive. They formed in 2010. They were formerly called 3 Month Sunset, and like I said, this is their first album. I liked it so much that I had to get their second album called Southern Mind. I believe they only have these 2 albums. The vocals on AC is just incredible. So Lowtide were the first band I wanted to quickly mention. Let's go back to some classic shoegaze from the early 90s. This is adorable. This is a compilation called Footnotes. They're from Coventry, England, and they formed in 1990. They only had 2 albums. I guess this band had kind of an ego, and maybe that hurt them a little bit, but this is a compilation called Footnotes. It has 18 tracks. I bought this one off of eBay. They had a hit with Sunshine Smile, which is an awesome song. I think the singer kind of sounds like Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen. Let me know if you kind of get that same vibe or comparison after listening to them. There's a recent vinyl reissue of their album Against Perfection. I think it was put out by Music on Vinyl. However, they didn't include the track Sunshine Smile for some reason, and I think a lot of people complained about that. So yeah, I highly recommend Adorable. Another track I really like off here is Sistine Chapel Ceiling. Great band from the early 90s. Thanks to my friend Jess for the next one, and this is a band called 93 Million Miles from the Sun. This is their album called Towards the Light. They were formed in Doncaster, UK, and this was a new discovery for me. I want to read a quote that I found on them that kind of describes their sound a little bit better. It's, "The band tends to concentrate more on the dark, prickly noise of shoegaze than its pop sweetness, with pretty successful results." You can definitely hear Joy Division and Jesus and Mary Chain in their sound. They have a post-punk vibe on several of the songs here, which I think is just excellent. So yeah, check out 93 Million Miles from the Sun. I want to talk about a band from New Jersey next called Deardarkhead. Found this recently in Lincoln. They formed in 1988, and this is a compilation of their 3 EPs. It's called Oceanside, 1991 to 1993. Track listing there. Pretty healthy doses of shoegaze, dreampop, and post-punk. Maybe a little bit of psych guitar as well, actually. I think this band re-emerged in 2016 with kind of an instrumental album. I believe St. Marie put that out. But yeah, this is a band worth hearing. Flying Colours, another Australian band that I have both Jess and Dean to thank for introducing me to. I want to feature their EP ×2. First of all, it's a collection of 2 early EPs. Shelf Life put this out. This is just extraordinary. Yeah, 2015 is when this was released. They formed in 2011 in Melbourne, Australia. They definitely have more of a My Bloody Valentine, just guitar assault approach to their shoegaze, which I love a lot. That's what I dig in shoegaze, and I've mentioned that before. So sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I just had to mention that about them. I also wanted to show this. This is called Mindfulness, and it was released in 2016. Also very good. So Flying Colours, they do shoegaze right, in my opinion. I want to talk about a band that has been tragically ignored. Next, I'm gonna have to cover part of this album cover. I should have prepared for this, but this is their EP called Lolita right here, and I found this down in Bellevue, and it's not the easiest EP to find. So they were a duo. They formed in London in 1986. The members are Alex Ayuli and Rudy Tambala. They were pretty ahead of their time with shoegaze, dream pop, some trip hop, and ambient elements. So this EP was released in 1987. This is a very influential EP to shoegaze. The song Butterfly Collector is just amazing. The guitars are like squalling but beautiful at the same time. So bands that were influenced by Kane, Slowdive, The Velt, and Seafeel, I can't wait to find more from them. So Kane. Next is a band called the Fawns. They formed in 2007 in Bristol, England. I couldn't find much information about them, but they do have 2 studio albums, and this is one of them. It is called Lights, and this is actually on white vinyl. Right here, a double LP. Sounds just great. Here's the track listing. Allison Garner, the singer, she just has very heavenly vocals. They definitely have the heavy, loud guitars I go crazy for in shoegaze. So this is the Fawns. Check them out. Next is a band called Tears Run Rings, and I actually have their 3 studio albums here. They formed in 2006 in LA. So here's In Surges, and then I love the cover of this album. This is their first album right here. Always, Sometimes, Seldom, Never. That one's on brown vinyl. And then this one is called Distance. And I like the little description on the little sticker here on this. I'm just going to read it real quick. It says, dreamy pop with a style reminiscent of the classic factory creation and 4AD sounds. So if you like male, female vocals and shoegaze, you're probably going to dig Tears Run Rings. I would compare them to Luna, Lush, and Slowdive. Cool, let's move on to Bailter Space. They're a really fun group from New Zealand, and I've got 2 of their CDs to share. Even these CDs are kind of hard to find, but they have more of a dark, grungy, droney guitar sound. So this album of theirs, Robot World, that kind of propelled them even more into the shoegaze world. This was released on Matador Records. It came out in 1993. Their first album is really good. I think it's called Tanker. That's the one that's been a little more difficult for me to track down, but Robot World is very, very good for shoegaze. And I also have their album called Vortura, which I also really enjoy. So check out this band if you like more of like the alternative grungy sound in your shoegaze. For sure, Bailter Space. Swirlies are next. I really like the Swirlies, and I'm thankful to have picked up this reissue last year in Washington, but this is their album Blonder Tongue audio baton right here. They're a Boston band. They formed in 1990. They actually started out as a Go-Go's cover band, believe it or not. They're kind of catchy, lo-fi, experimental, kind of cute. Kind of hard to describe their sound. They also have like a little bit of a slacker rock vibe, if that makes sense. Definitely influenced by Sonic Youth and My Bloody Valentine, I would say. They're kind of hard to describe, so I'll just try to provide a clip right here. Here's a band that I think has gotten overlooked, and they're from Austin, Texas. They formed in the early 90s, Should, and this is a good reissue of their album called A Folding Sieve. They definitely have an indie alternative sound, lots of ear-buzzing guitars. Tanya Mouse, I don't know if I'm saying that right, it's M-A-U-S, Moss. I love her voice. There's also a CD out there that has some extra bonus tracks. I also have their CD, Like a Fire Without a Sound, which is definitely more pop, definitely more minimal sounding. So very different from this, but very good as well. Alright, we're going to move on to Peel Dream Magazine next. This is their second album and actually came out this year. They formed in 2017 in New York City. Joe Stevens is kind of the mastermind of the group. He was primarily the only one featured on the first record, but there's more vocalists featured on this one. This one has gotten some pretty unfavorable reviews. Some reviews say that it's a carbon copy of early Stereolab albums, and yeah, I definitely hear Stereolab in their music. I also hear a lot of My Bloody Valentine, but in my opinion, that's a good thing. There's cues from a lot of 90s pop, yes. I also hear Yola Tango, so lots of bad reviews about this. Just ignore that. I think you guys are gonna dig it. So here's a clip of Peel Dream Magazine. Moving on to the Telescopes next, and the Telescopes formed in England in 1986. Stephen Laurie is the leader of the group, and I wanted to show their second album here. I noticed that this also has an alternate or a different cover, but this is a reissue that I found, put out on Radiation Records, and I'll just kind of read some of it right here. Formed in 1987, these British shoegaze space rock mainstays drew inspiration from the 60s psych and rock scene, particularly the Velvets, the 13th Floor Elevators, Love, and the Byrds, as well as contemporaries such as My Bloody Valentine and the Jesus and Mary Chain. So I would say that's pretty accurate. I wanted to show this. They definitely started off as more noise pop and shoegaze, and then maybe as time went on got a little bit more experimental and space rock. This is a recent Record Store Day reissue of Altered Perception, which was originally released in 2004. So this was a UK release recently for Record Store Day, and it's on lovely purple vinyl. Why aren't there more purple vinyl albums out there? I'm not a huge fan of colored vinyl, but I will take purple vinyl any day. So this is Altered Perception, like I said, and it's just kind of a collection of their first two albums, selected tracks from those, as well as some rarities and B-sides. Really freaking good. So yeah, Altered Perception, And that second album I really love side 2. I forgot to mention that. Side 2 is definitely the winner for me. Okay, we're dwindling down. We're getting there. Rollerskate Skinny, that's the band I wanted to talk about next, and just ignore some of the price tags and whatnot. I found this recently in Des Moines for kind of a day trip, maybe 2 months back. I went with my friend. This is their second album, and this band is quite something. They're from Dublin, Ireland, and the reason I think they're awesome is because the earlier lineup of this band featured the brother of Kevin Shields, Jim Shields. So right away your ears should be perking up when I say that. This album does not feature Jim Shields though. This album kind of blew my mind. It's so layered. There's just so much going on. It's like catchy pop with feedback and distortion. It's like a shoegaze version of the Flaming Lips, but a lot better. Check out Rollerskate Skinny, especially this album right here, and it's called Horse-Drawn Wishes. Kitchens of Distinction is the band I want to talk about next. And they formed in London in 1986. They have 5 studio albums. I have 3 so far that I want to share. I found this one at a record show last year up in Washington, where I found most of my record gems. But this is their album called Love Is Hell. The little sticker on here says Ethereal Shoegaze for fans of Catherine Wheel Cocteau Twins. I agree. Yeah, this band definitely had a hand in facilitating that Dreampop and Shoegaze sound. Fun fact, occasionally they performed under the name Toilets of Destruction. So Julian Swale is the guitarist. In my opinion, he achieved just an impressive, dreamy guitar sound. So I want to show this album too. It's called Strange Free World, which I've listened to so much. And I want to thank one of my Instagram friends. His handle is Never Tell Anybody Anything. He recently sent this after I posted the CD on Instagram. He said he had an extra copy, so thank you so much for that. I'll go ahead and show the label on this. Magnificent album. It's on A&M Records. Patrick Fitzgerald, the vocalist, he just sings with so much emotion. This is also a really good album called The Death of Cool. Found this recently downtown. Very good. This one was released in 1992. Excellent band, Kitchens of Distinction. Okay, we got one last band to cover for this installment, and then I'm going to chat with you guys for just a little bit. So this band is called Ultra Vivid Scene, and I've got 2 of their 3 albums thus far. This band formed in 1987, and they actually got signed to 4AD Records. This is their first self-titled album, which, I don't know, that's just a very 80s cover to me. I think it was released, 1988. And like I said, it's on 4AD. Such a cool label. Right there. So the main member of the group, the genius, is Kurt Rolski. Hopefully I said that right. Rolski. There's a lot of goth lyricism in their music, and they're pretty experimental, maybe a little bit art pop in there. This is their other album I have called Joy 1967 to 1990. Love the artwork on this one a lot more. Let me know what you guys think. I think Rev is their last album. That's the one I have yet to hear. Okay, that's it for this Shoegaze part 2. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go into a part 3 because I have even more. I haven't even talked about Secret Shine yet. I don't think I've talked about them yet. But yeah, I have another, I don't know, 10 or so bands that I would like to talk about a little bit. Some more from Australia. So yeah, stick around. That might not be until early 2021, because the next video I would like to film is my favorite albums of 2020. Lots of good new releases this year, you guys. I usually don't listen to a whole lot of new music, but I was just blown away by the talent, all the good albums that came out this year, so I'm excited to kind of put together my list of maybe around 15 or so albums that I really enjoyed. So that's probably most likely gonna be my next video. And then I want to go back to Power Pop. I've got just a massive collection update for Power Pop, spanning back to this summer. So as you know, I love Power Pop, love Shoegaze, love Jangle Pop. I focus on those subgenres for you guys. And a lot of you seem to dig that too. So I'm thankful to connect with you guys on these genres of music. Stick around, will you? I'm going to be putting out that favorites of 2020 video next. Until then, please be safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.